Watch this.
Oh, hallelujah.
Get up right now.
I'm hearing something real powerful for someone. And now listen to this. Hallelujah. Sent that wind that reaching out to hurting people. Hallelujah.
This is what you do.
Something more than it was. Yes. Listen to this right here.
I heard then, it was like the Lord spoke that through me then. Oh, there it is. Get up right now.
There it is again. Hallelujah. Sent that wind that reaching out to hurting people. Hallelujah.
Baba Kanda just glitched out on me. Did you see that?
Yeah. Oh, I missed it.
Man, it just makes me so mad.
I'm afraid I was gonna be late. But
how's it going, Luke, Piper, buddy?
It's going pretty good. Yeah. Pretty good.
Grab
a drink and buy a friend. Yeah. All right. So anyway, how's everybody doing tonight? Yep, that was the farting preacher.
I was enjoying that till it froze.
I know, man. That just upsets me. I don't know what happened. But,
I was waiting for Benny Hinn to be in there. So he's gonna make.
Well, sometimes Benny shows up. Welcome, Anthony. We got Anthony here too.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, he doesn't have as long an intro as we normally have. Yeah, it froze up on me. You know.
Sorry for the wait.
That's all right. I don't want all nuts. Are you clean shaven? What's going on with that?
That's it. I was wondering. I was like, did he shave?
I did.
You have a hot date? What happened? I mean...
No. Well, I just got over the coof again, second bout. And anytime I get sick, like I just have to shave. You know, like it's just one of those things that I have to.
I can see it. You know, probably like.
I could imagine. I mean, I don't have like pretty
Well, I
sure,
mean,
but
you
I can
know-
imagine it feeling icky.
Every time they,
I could imagine you like you're in your head. It's like that could have stuff in it. Let me get it up. You know.
Well, it's kind of like that, but it's it feels like like you spend like 5 days just like blowing your nose and all, and it's just like it's just got to clean up.
Just shampoo, dude.
Man, we just call that. I just call that a leg workout. You know, that's what you. Get a good.
Jay Dollar Sign
get on the
does not
squat
approve.
rack. You know.
Everybody forgets that like I was clean shaven all the way up until the lockdowns.
Once you have a beard, that's all anybody remembers. It's over from there.
It's true.
It's like that's the better version of every man. Like, let's think about that. Like, look, when you look at John Krasinski, looks better with a beard.
Yeah.
And
I think you're just saying that for personal reasons, because you got a beard yourself.
I do, and that's why I have a beard.
See, I was always artsy musician guy with the little soul patch, and I actually had the long hair to go with it.
So I'm releasing a video tomorrow.
You do look a little Savage Garden tonight,
Yeah, he does, doesn't he?
He's like, I'm gonna kill you.
And to be fair, like I feel like my chin is more pale than the rest of my face because it like hasn't gotten as much sunlight in the last 2 years.
Look different. It looks like you look like some weird fraud.
So you look like what was his Henry Cavill, where he had the mustache, but they like put a thing over it, Tried to CGI that thing and it looked horrible. It was like a living worm beneath his nose.
Are you guys having trouble hearing me?
No, I can.
Somebody said
No,
talk
you're
in the
just,
mic, Luke.
you're still really quiet, like it's
Oh, am
like
I?
usual
I can fix
quiet.
that. I can fix my volume though.
That's not his mic. That's just him.
I was
Just
just saying.
Dude, it was a long day. I mean, long day. So I got up and we went to the. Tomorrow's my 1 year anniversary from leaving the ICU. So we went today. We took cupcakes, because that's the same, right? I mean, you saved my life. I brought you cupcakes. That's how that works. So,
You saved my life. Here's diabetes.
I mean, you gotta
Please
go.
enjoy the diabetes.
I mean, what are you gonna do? You know what I mean? Like you gotta get order him a pizza, something. Yeah, you gotta do something.
Right. I mean, I don't know what else I could do. But anyway, I went in, saw some people from last year. They remembered me, which was I can't remember people I meet last week, and they remember me from a year ago. So that was pretty neat. But yeah, it was nice. So we went, did that, and then family wanted to do something fun, so we went to the zoo and walked around a lot. Did a lot more activity than I normally do. On account of the fact that my lungs still suck. So yeah, that was I'm pretty tired, but still spicy and salty as ever. So
Was it
no
fun?
worries there. It was fun. We had a good time. I didn't used to like zoos before. The nap is kind of like a reset. I'm a bit different. I kind of feel like that Doctor Who thing where where they're the same but different. That's how I feel.
Is your,
Well, you probably
is
just
your taste
appreciate.
back? I was gonna say, is your taste back 100%, or do you still got that
Oh
coppery?
no, I
mask?
can. No, I taste well.
Yeah.
Um,
Because
I
the
taste.
longest.
I taste. Trust me.
I had that copper taste after COVID for about 4 weeks. Just couldn't, like, everything tasted.
Well, to be fair, I
sour.
might have,
Yeah.
but I was traked, so I didn't get to eat for like 72 days. So it was 72 days between
Oh
my
wow.
last meal and then the next time I'd ate anything. So by that time, my taste was back. Here's a funny story. So the first thing they bring me is some mashed potatoes, right? And I try these mashed potatoes. I'm like, God, these aren't very good. So I don't want to eat these. And they were difficult to swallow and all that. They were real nasty. And so my wife tastes them. She goes, I don't know. Maybe if I hadn't eaten for a while, I'd like them. And I looked at her and I go, seriously? Like 72 days and no thanks, I'm good. That's how bad the mashed potatoes at Kindred were.
Are you coma-splaining me, honey?
Oh lordy.
My daughter had a really funny joke the other night. She said, so is that first nap after a coma, is that a little bit like playing Russian roulette?
Ooh.
I like her sense of humor.
Oh, she's a treat. She is a fun.
How old is she?
She'll be 20 at the end of the month.
Oh, I'm thinking like you got like she's like 8 and she's whipping shit out like that.
Oh no, she was when she was 8. Yeah, no, she's been this way her whole life. Yeah.
Oh, that's funny. No,
Like, I
either
knew-
way, I still like the sense of humor.
She's like,
That's
so
fucking
Dad, you worried about not waking up this time or what? You know?
She was like, I think 5 at the time, and it was snowing and sleet, and it was nasty out, right? And so we were getting ready to meet my wife for lunch. We went to this restaurant called Fazoli's in Indiana, and Kokomo particularly. The roads and the parking lots are just garbage, and so there are potholes everywhere. Well, there was a pothole that had filled with wet, cold, slushy stuff, and my daughter was in her cute little pink outfit with her nice little shoes, and she jumps out of the back seat of the car. Foot goes right in that puddle. She picks her leg up, shakes, and goes, "Aw, damn it." And I'm not supposed to laugh because that's. By the way, I was a youth pastor at the time, so I'm like, everyone's like, "Well, where'd she learn that at, Luke?" And I'm like, I don't know. Unless I talk in my sleep. Maybe I talk in my sleep. I don't.
That darn
That's what it is.
television.
She learned it from Stewie. It was Stewie.
That's when you
Actually, I did.
introduce
she
the
did
swear
learn a lot.
jar.
Yeah, she did learn a lot from Stewie, and I had to stop watching that show. But yeah, so she's always kind of been that sassy little princess.
Ever since I escaped from your womb.
Yeah, she's funny. But yeah, so yeah, busy day. It was a fun day though. Had a good time. Got to see some animals. Funny thing happened. I actually had I'm ADHD, so I actually had one of those. They always say, "Oh, squirrel moments." Literally had a squirrel moment. We are talking in deep conversation, and a squirrel runs by, and I go, "Oh, look, a squirrel!" And my whole family just stops and looks at me. They're all waiting for me to catch on that, hey, you just said something stupid again.
You lived the pun. Yeah.
Yeah, I lived. It's a stereotype for a reason. So.
Yeah. I think a lot of us are scatterbrained. I mean, my brain goes all over the place. I'm bouncing off the walls most days, but smoke a little bit just to stay level.
Creative people have those problems. Piper, how's your week going so far? I know it's only Tuesday, but
Actually, not bad this week. Being productive.
good. And it was a busy weekend, fending off the harassment on Twitter. Anthony was a part of that. He tried to play along, but
Why are you harassing Piper, Anthony?
he was white knighting it. That's he was coming in there and he was like, you
He's like,
foul creatures.
I
problem
feel like
was
that's
I was white knighting Shelly, and
Yeah.
then this dude, I found out after that he spreads to the chicks, but any dudes that say anything,
Blocks, man.
they
blocks.
block immediately.
he spreads.
You know what he does?
Brago-
You make
He
that guy
blocks.
sound like he's an STD.
He
Yeah.
blocks
I know.
for a day, and then
He's
and then he
Socially
unblocks
transmitted
you.
disease.
Like for the dudes, he'll unblock you, and then like say something, then let you say something, then block you again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I-
Then
I-
they started doing that to me, and I was like, "Well, I'm done with it."
Well, he does that to avoid the ban. By the way, you know
Yeah.
that. That's
Yeah.
why they do that.
Yeah. He
Because you
does
can't
that
report
so
them
that-
if you're blocked. You can't report them if you're blocked.
Yeah, I
So,
reported
not-
all of them anyway. I just had to
I'm not-
I just
I know
ignore them.
Frago was doing the whole pretending to be a girl and up his profile real quick that he does every once in a while.
That's
And they were
hilarious.
engaging him until he went back to his normal profile, and then
They
they
realized that's
Block
that's
what
not
they
your
say.
mother. That's a man,
oh,
baby.
we're not harassing a chick. Damn it.
It's ma'am.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't celebrate my blocks, but I do laugh when someone I know blocked me. All of a sudden, I can see them again. It's like, you actually took the time to unblock me? Why?
We got the CG Metalsmith Phoenix animation in the house. I got to see him on Saturday. He took me to some weeb hell restaurant called Super Saiyan. It's a
Oh my God.
it's a faux restaurant.
That sounds
Pho.
amazing. Yeah.
Yes, the food was good.
If they do not have pho, that makes you red in the face, and you know, that if they don't have pho that you have to sign a waiver for, I'm disappointed.
They don't. No. Well, no, they do.
Pho.
I didn't get that.
It
That's
is.
why my
Pho?
favorite restaurant is What the Pho. It's spelled
Is
What
it
the
pho
Pho,
or
but
pho?
it's pronounced What the Pho.
Yeah,
Is it pronounced pho or pho?
it's pho. She's right.
Pho?
Yeah.
Well, that's
Yeah.
stupid. They should be an A on there then.
Or you.
No,
No, that'd be
it's from
food.
another
Yeah.
country.
Pho.
You know.
Pho? Well, this is the only country that matters. So
Blue
Yeah,
says,
we're gonna have
"Arr!"
it here. No.
Blue's going all like pirate. Arr! You started. I'm not home yet.
no, not home yet. Speaking of pirates, apparently, Randy dropped a really funny pirate. Have you heard of the show, the movie? Not the. Gosh, what am I talking about? There is a department store that does home improvement called Menards, up north.
Yes.
Okay. He said, "Oh, I have to go to the pirate store to get that." I'm like, "The what?" And he goes, "The pirate store." He goes, "What does a pirate say when you kick him in the balls?" "Ah, Menards." And I just walked right into that one. And so I've been sitting on that one for a while now.
You walked into me cards and now you're sitting on them.
Right. I've been sitting on that one for a minute, and then my in-laws are up in Indiana for a couple of weeks, and I heard my wife talking about that they might need to go, to Lowe's or something like that. And I said, well, they should try the pirate store. And she's like, what are you talking about, the pirate store? And then I was able to drop the dad joke, so yeah. So yeah, it's been a really good week, guys.
I'm sure she appreciated that. She probably just stared at you at, uh-huh.
Yeah.
It's been a really good week for me.
Glad to
Not
hear
for
it, man.
me.
Glad to hear it.
Everyone's
Buddy.
for chuckle.
Buddy, how's
Anthony
your
just
week
got to
going?
add that. I was miserable.
I got to say, it wasn't as bad as the first time. I wouldn't have even known I had it if I didn't just have a slew of tests in my medicine cabinet that my aunt got me. She got me 10 of them, and I had 4 from the post office, those free ones that they give you. Because I took one Tuesday when I felt myself getting sick, and it came back negative. So I was like, all right, I just got a head cold. That's what it felt like. It felt like just like a head cold. And then I had to work Friday, so I was like, all right, you know what? Just to play it safe, I'll take, these tests go bad after a while. I might as well use one. And it came back positive. And I was like, well, I've been using a nasal spray. Maybe that messed with it. The nasal spray's, it's a 12-hour spray, so it's over in 3 or 4 hours. I'll do another one then. And it came back positive again. And it was the worst weekend to ever have to miss work because it was a $1,500 weekend. Oh. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, so I lost out on that money. Yeah. So,
I was
not a good
exposed-
week.
I was exposed to COVID 3 times, and all 3 times it was because somebody took a test that said if they were negative when they weren't, and then it came to work anyway.
Oh.
I've only had it
Yeah, they're
once.
not the most accurate.
During the summer, I was diagnosed with COVID, and I was like, hey, I'm not gonna. I was like, I guess I'm done with work this week. And then the warehouse that I was supposed to go to was like, well, if you want to come, we'll just tell everybody to go home, and you can be alone in the warehouse, and we have to clean it anyway. And I was like,
Well, that's
okay.
thoughtful.
It's like, well, sure then. So I worked with COVID, but in 106-degree weather. Actually, it was probably 110 in the warehouse.
Oh, that's crazy. Because the one thing that both times got me, and again, this time not as bad as last time, was the weakness. I was almost dizzy. I was so weak,
Yeah.
And
Welcome, Blue Teddy.
Yeah, I mean, I obviously didn't have a strain that was like Luke's or something. It was just a cold for me, like an infection or something. And I was just like, okay, whatever, I'll push through it. I brought 3 sets of clothes because I knew I was going to sweat like crazy, and got it done.
Which is normal. I mean, over time, whether it's radiological, nuclear, whatever this is, you know, I mean, it dissipates over time. It gets weaker and weaker and weaker the further and the longer it goes.
What, did you hear about the new strain in Boston?
Yeah.
They
In
developed
Boston.
for some reason that kills 80% of everyone it infects.
What?
What?
Let's
didn't
make
hear
this
about
thing
that at
worse
all.
in the lab.
New
Yeah.
new COVID just dropped.
Yeah, they took
Hear that
the
new
Of all
COVID
places, you know.
they took the alpha variant. Boston University took the alpha variant, which was more deadly, but not as infectious, and then took the protein strains from the Omicron, which is not as deadly but way more infectious.
Wait, Alpha? I thought Delta was the most deadly.
No,
Delta was the one that killed like tons of people.
well,
Alpha's
I
the
mean,
first, it's like ground zero, isn't it? Like the
Alpha
Yeah.
was the first one. Delta
Do you
is
realize
the,
that?
That's
You know
the
what's
one I
really
had.
sad? Because in order to create this, what you're talking about is protein strands, and in order to create like a particular helix style of protein strand, you need two things. One is you need like two inventions of the last like 10 years. One is CRISPR, which was the genome sequencing developed by the ladies over in England. The second one is the protein folding algorithm and computer program, which was just put to 85% last year. So you're taking two of the like Nobel Prize winning style like science discoveries in the past 10 years and creating a deadly virus.
Hamalana.
yeah, it was. It's like why? It's like I think when people think like, can we do this? They don't even think about should we do this, because it's like, why would you do that? They
Yeah,
gave the
they could be working on, like, I mean, we found out that, like, cancer is epigenetic sequencing that fails. Too many of them fail in a row, and because of the diversity in the epigenetic sequencing as it goes, it causes HGH to grow, which then becomes cancer, right? And so it's like, okay, well, if we know that, then why don't we use protein folding to solve that instead of making viruses?
Oh well, that'd be nice.
They say oh, well, because in the future, now we can fight against it. We're going to learn how to fight against it. This would never happen in nature. What you just
Yeah.
created
You
would
just-
never happen in
Like-
nature.
What the fuck?
It's like, since we're all comic book people, it's like, was it Tower of Babel, but the Batman series, where he, like, where Ra's al Ghul takes the plans that Batman machinated to destroy the Justice League, and he's like, well, I made these plans in case you were ever taken over by a person that had the power to take your abilities and became you. And, like, what?
Yeah,
You-
right. That doesn't make any sense at all.
You invented ways to kill us because there might be someone out there who could take all of our powers in the same week.
It sounds
Okay.
like maybe you're the one with the problem.
No, this one
Sounds
though,
like a
this
you
one though
problem.
is we're intentionally inventing a really big problem so that we know how to treat the really big problem we just invented.
Right.
You know,
Like,
you know what this sounds like? The She-Hulk series. We're gonna no, what I mean is, like, they're like 3 years ago they're like, we're gonna create a series that they all hate, so they hate it, and then we can hate them because they hate it. What?
Yeah.
Well, mission accomplished. Way to go,
Yeah.
ladies.
A lot of the justification for it too is you want to do it before your enemies do it because you're afraid they might have the upper hand, so you create it anyways. You know,
Right.
like space.
Yay! Think about what you've accomplished.
Who is that?
but
Gail.
what if we have a lab leak in Boston University, and this thing gets out?
I mean,
that-
that was how the first version got out.
Which they still don't want to admit. Yeah.
No, they finally they keep
Well, I'm
admitting to
definitely not
everything that
getting
we've been
monetized on
calling.
this.
They'll admit
Well, I
to
mean,
So that's
little
for
They
bits at a
welded.
time when we're
No,
done talking about it.
YouTube
Like,
changed
that's
the
when they've been-
rules. We can now talk about COVID freely, as long
can
as
we
we
talk
don't
about
go.
the vid?
Yeah, we could. We just can't go too far with the vaccines.
Oh,
The stuff that
dang it!
costs
You said the V word. You said the V word.
Oh no.
Anyway, let's talk about comics for a little bit.
Okay. Soltac? That one?
No, not yet. Let's talk about that a
okay.
little bit. We need to get to know Mad Ruth a little bit before we
Sure.
sell his book. People need to get to know this guy.
That makes me want to Tic Tac.
Soul tack, tic tac. Right? So we're talking about making cheddar and getting better. I think so. I philosophize a bit, but not as much as the Velociraptor. Clearly, But I was thinking that I think people have a viewpoint that the more money they make, the more expertise or quality they have in a given field. Okay, our field, let's just take comics. So let's say at our level, you've got 3 creators. One creator has been writing for a long time and hires an artist that is pretty new, but has the chops, and but they don't have much of a market. They don't have a following, right? Now they produce a really good quality product, but they only sell, maybe let's say $500, $600 worth, which is a big deal to them. It's their first book. That's pretty good. They're able to make that kind of money. They weren't expecting to make money, or even break even. They were just doing it for the love of comics, right? And let's say we got 2 other people, and both of those people, have varying degrees of quality. Let's say one of them is not quite as good as the other one, but is able to hire a good cover artist and pulls in about $1,500 on their campaign. And then you got somebody else who pulls in a great deal of money on their campaign. There is a common thought among people like, well, they made money, so I really can't tell them anything. Or they didn't make any money, so they really don't know anything about writing or art or any of that kind of stuff. But I've noticed that we're trying to grow our talents and our abilities, but we're also trying to provide for ourselves and our families. Now, this is a great panel to talk about this. Do you think that there is a connection between how much money you make and how good you are? Or do you think there's other things at play? Like how good the product is, your quality, versus how much you make? Or do you think that there's other things at play?
Well, I would say, going back to what you said, like, because they made money, people think that you can't tell them anything. Now, when it comes to the quality of their work, no, I think anybody can criticize any body of work. Yeah, they might be a better marketer, and maybe they know something more about marketing and that you don't, and maybe you shouldn't, talk to them about that. I think that's what it comes down to. It's all about your marketing. And some people have a leg up in that, you know what I mean? Like, some people have that following right out the gate, so the marketing comes easy, whereas everybody else has to figure out their niche in the marketing scheme.
Okay. Scheme?
Scheme and scam.
No, not scheme. Yeah, not scheme as in plotting. Yeah,
I got you. I know.
But yeah, so I think it all comes down to marketing and kind of like where you come out the gate on. You know what I mean? Like you said, if someone's new, they don't have a following. But if someone is not new but they have a following, doesn't mean the new guy's not better than the guy who's been around longer.
Well, let me get a little more specific, okay? For the risk of ticking people off, I'm fine with that. So let's say there's this guy. We'll just call him
Flipper?
Let's call him Flipper. Thank you. I was about to use his real name. It rhymes with... So let's call him Flipper. So here's Flipper, and Flipper's been making comic books for about 6 or 7 years, and he has really gotten good at bullcrapping people. He's used a few, some of his connections, and he's been able to sell some books, make some some friendships, and he has made friends with different publishers. And use some IPs that are public domain to be able to make a good deal of money. And Flipper thinks he knows a lot about making comic books because he's made a lot of money. And then let's say there's another guy. We'll call him Flooper. So you got Flipper over here, young guy, but you got Flooper, who's been around a long time, has known a lot about the industry, has published for decades, but isn't really into this whole crowdfunding thing or any of that baloney, right? And this guy tries to say, hey, tries to share and impart his knowledge and wisdom on younger creators and publishers. Because Flooper's a nice guy. But Flipper says, you know, he doesn't have any right to criticize what we do because he's not been doing anything. Is that clear enough without being...
Yeah.
I'm
without
lost
actually
personally, but
I don't know who you're talking about, but I'm following the scenario.
Okay.
I
Yeah.
think the Flipper and Flooper names are too close together, so I got Kitty. That scared me.
I did not get Ah Kitty from that particular arrangement, but you know.
So the one thing
Cat
about this
just like
current,
jumped out of nowhere.
just one thing about this current crowdfunding model and what drew me into this was that I wanted to write this story for 16 years that I created. This thing's been rattling around in my head for almost 2 decades. But I always said to myself I was going to write when I retired. My next dream was to write when I retired, but how was I going to find an audience? That's the one thing. You can create a masterpiece in the desert, or you can draw stick figures in the middle of town square, right? Which one's going to be more productive? So, oh shit, I just lost my train of thought. But what I was getting with that is your measurement for success, or even to take on crowdfunding and doing this, is to find an audience for your product. And I mean, we all move at different paces. We all learn things differently. Some of us have more are good interactive and more entertaining and build audiences quicker. People are all different, right? With perseverance and time and dedication and drive, you will get better and you will meet more people. It's just a question of if you want to continue to go or if you want to give up, you know?
All right. But that goes back, is the marketing more important than the product?
No.
That's,
Well, okay, I'm gonna pull my usual fence sitting stance here, and I'm gonna say this. I'm gonna say that the young guy is being a little flippant for not taking into account the veteran's experience, just because he's not up on the newfangled technology or what have you. You know what I mean? Okay, let's put it in the perspective of art, right? You can take the shortcuts and just draw what you see, or you can take the time out and learn the anatomy of a human body and learn to draw from scratch, and then teach yourself your own shortcuts along the way, which is what you should do.
Or you can click a button and use AI art. Isn't that great?
But what I mean is like the new guy should take into account where, okay, maybe in his mind the old guy doesn't know what he's talking about because he's not doing the same thing that we're doing, and this model is different and it's a newer model and blah blah blah. But you should know where the roots are from where this industry started, which was basically running around and sticking pamphlets in people's faces. I mean, basically, right? And that's basically been the model ever since day one. Just dependent on the means to do that, you know. So I would say that the young guy should probably take a couple of notches off his ladder there, and I should think that the old guy should maybe think, well, he's doing something right because he is being successful, but you know.
Yeah, I mean, obviously the young guy's making money, and
maybe not.
You know.
Is the old guy talking down to the young guy?
No, not really. He just thinks the young guy's
a dick.
Thank you. Yeah, that's what I was looking for.
How much art exists out there that wasn't famous till the artist was long dead? You know, hundreds of years.
I know,
after
right?
they
I was about to say,
Van
if you
Gogh.
really want to be a famous artist, you're gonna have to die first.
Yeah.
No,
I mean, there was a
only to not be
reason for that,
appreciated my own
though.
time.
Like, I mean, like the reasoning for that most of the time was because that there was no exposure. But then when they died, it was exposed to everything because you had the obituary going everywhere, and like so that was one of the reasons why that happened. They're like, what? No, and because
their
it
paintings were
ended.
brilliant when they didn't care before.
Well, also, I was gonna say speculation, because then they're like, oh, it's ended. Buy them all up. Buy them all up. They might be worth something in 10 years, because that's what everybody does. But I don't know. Like, marketing is very important. But if you market a piece of crap, then what's going to happen is people are going to go, "Oh, this is awesome," and then they're going to open it and be like, "This really stinks."
Yeah. So here's the deal. I think, as we progress in our journeys, we think that the more we produce, the more of an audience we will gain. But that isn't always true, is it?
Not necessarily, no.
Like
You
that's
don't.
No.
You don't gain an audience by producing. You gain an audience by engaging them.
yeah. And see, I think that's the problem. I think when we're getting better at writing, we're getting better at drawing. The things that actually make our product better. We don't have time for Twitter and streams usually, do we? So I'm noticing this disconnect, and I like to take the long way around any point or conversation. But I'm noticing this I'm noticing some
Dicks connect.
I
But
mean,
I'm noticing some disconnect.
I know a lot of dicks.
Yeah.
I-
So you
That
do-
came out wrong. Now that
Yeah,
I think
you're
about it.
like-
that's bad.
This screen is like one. You're one and surrounded
Clip
by,
that.
and
Clip it.
Well, I've
just
heard that
saying.
about you.
That's not what I meant.
That's going to the next Wolf Mill commercial.
Oh, God damn it. Shit.
So anyway, there's a disconnect between the ability to improve on making comics and the ability to sell them. But I also feel there's a disconnect between the ability to sell a comic book and the ability to sell many comic books because of lack of quality.
Well, those are almost two separate points. I mean, not points, topics, right? Like,
But they're not.
I mean, they hold hands, but they're kind of going down two different lanes in the
They
supermarket.
do more than hold hands. I think they're making out in the back seat.
If you look
Like-
at the current trends for what's super popular, sorry to cut you off, Anthony. What's super popular, what isn't? It isn't necessarily the quality of the book or the size of the book. It is the more popular that artist is. That's the reality of where we're at right now. Sorry.
Right.
That is,
Well,
yeah.
I mean, maybe in like CG and indie comics.
Well, like
Well, I thought that's what we were talking about. I thought we were talking about indies.
Yeah, well, okay, so the whole perfecting your craft as opposed to the time it takes to promote the stuff. I think the disconnect there is people having either I don't want to say unrealistic, but they have an idea of how fast that should take place, and that should take place at your rate. So it comes down to balancing the working on the piece of art, whether you're the writer or the artist, and crafting that, and balancing that time with actually trying to put yourself out there. And it might take longer for some people than it will for others. And as far as pumping out a bunch of product as opposed to maybe, instead of like 6 books a year as opposed to 3 books a year, that comes down to the quality. Like, what are those 6 books just as good as the other guy's 3? Because if they are, then good on you, But if they're not, just like in the music industry, how many artists that pumped out album after album, and maybe they made a little bit of noise, but then there was that one super popular band that maybe put out a very small catalog of music, but they went on tour every single album for a year and a half, and they put the grind in, and those are the ones that became superstars. You know what I mean? Because they were out there with the audience, So and their albums were better, you know what I mean? Because they were writing that music on the road. They weren't just getting paid by some guy at a record label to sit in a studio every 2 months and pump out another 10 songs, another 10 songs, another 10 songs. You know what I mean?
The fan base you generate is yours to lose. Meaning, if there's 50 people that are into you, you can keep them as long as you keep them entertained. You get up to 100, same thing. You get up to 1,000, same thing, right? We watch these people. They can get great audiences. They either make a subpar product or they say something really stupid, and then they nosedive, right? So as long as you keep your trajectory going like this, you're doing the right thing, in my opinion. You know.
They say, especially for indie creators like us. Well, if you're writing, you're not promoting. If you're promoting, you're not drawing. If you're drawing, you're not fulfilling. If you're, there's always that. Because we're such one-person shows, usually, Piper and I get to tag team the promotion stuff now, which is nice. But I think that plays a role in it. But I think one of the things that I am noticing, though, is that you've got a lot of these younger creators that are out there, or not necessarily younger, these newer, I don't want to say younger, because I've seen a grown man come in with the same attitude as some 20-year-old. Like, oh, I was able to get in with the right crowd, got a good artist, was able to sell and make a bunch of money off my first book. But when that first book showed up to my door, it was garbage, man. There were so many flaws with it. With the storytelling.
How many people we seen who didn't even make a book? They came in and CG rocks, CG's the greatest. Oh, by the way, I got a campaign, back it. Nobody backed it. You all suck. You're all biased. I hate you. Yeah. CG sucks, and they walk away. How many times have we seen that over and over? Gosh. No wonder someone's in camps, right? Like, I get it. Yeah, right. It gets annoying, right?
That's why we got to sniff out the people that aren't serious.
Mm-hmm.
Well, one thing that I learned for me when it comes to the whole creating and marketing is you don't necessarily have to be on a stream to market. Like, you could be sitting there writing at your desk or drawing at your desk and have a stream on and just be in the chat.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I'm a lurker. I'm big time. I'm a lurker. I've listened to so many shows. I don't say a word in the chat.
Yeah, I was gonna say I'm really bad though. Like, I can't work and listen to a live stream at the same time because
I gotta have music.
Yeah, it's either got to be music or I need to be sitting there just paying attention to that live stream. I can't work while it's on because it's people talking. And if you want to be in the chat, well, I'm sitting here typing in the chat and then making sure nobody's replying to me and I'm not ignoring them.
Yeah, you gotta be active. So I mean, if you can't do that, then what you can do is something to the effect of, like, obviously, if Wednesdays is your work day and you're not streaming on a Wednesday and you're just gonna sit there and draw all day or write all day or whatever it is, when you're done, make sure that you jump into a chat of a stream that's going on right there as you go lay down on the couch or in bed for the next hour before you go to sleep or whatever, and just be super active in the chat. Yo, Luke, what's going on? Yo, Mad Ruth, how you doing? Blah, blah, blah. Because when they see your name 100 times over in a chat flicking up their screen, the next time they see your name on a StreamYard tab like you're seeing here, they're going to go, oh, that's the dude that I was having a good conversation with the other day. What's he doing up on a panel? Oh, he's got a book? Oh, no shit. You know what I mean?
It's definitely about engagement. I was talking with someone, they said, hey, how do I find an audience? Like, well, a few things. Don't just follow creators. That's all you're doing. You're just following other people that make. You need to try to engage with the fans. Find fans of the genre, not just fans of comics. Find, if you're doing horror, find horror fans. Superheroes, obviously, superheroes, so on and so forth. And so I said that's a pretty good place to start. And then just get involved with the chats, like where it goes around these shows. And the ones that are smaller, like ours, are actually even better, because then you can get to know the people that are in those areas. If the channel has it, drop a super chat from time to time. Don't just go in there and shill. Don't just go in there and just, oh, I've got a link. If you're only around whenever you've got a book to sell, no one's going to be interested in buying it.
No, right. That's what I meant. Like, actually have a conversation.
Yeah.
That was one of the things that I told, what was her name? Black Rhapsody. Miss Raina.
Yeah.
She was like, I was like, you got to get active with the, in the chats of these streams if you want to try to get on them. I was like, but you can't jump in there going, hi guys, my name is Miss Raina. I have a book. You have to just get in there and start joking around and talking with people. And then maybe like an hour later go, oh yeah, by the way, you know what I mean?
And here's what I tell you. I always have a book.
Yeah, I don't mean to be selfish about going into my campaign, but part of the reason I finished my book before I launched was just for my own personal integrity, to prove people, hey, look, the line art's done and I haven't even launched it. Is that a stupid thing to do financially? Yes, but does that prove that I'm making a book,
Well, it creates
With
trust.
how many people have been burned by crowdfunding lately?
Yeah.
You pretty much have to. It's not enough anymore to do what we were doing way back and just paying or making some odd pages. And we really have to keep constantly showing people that, yes, look, we are working on this right now.
happening.
Here's proof.
for
You're getting your
momentum?
book.
Yep.
Because no longer does anybody really trust okay, I backed this book and now the creators are busy, so we don't hear from them because they're busy working on the book. Malin made this point and I was like, you're right. And it's because we got burned on crowdfunding. We want to make sure that the creators are still actively working on this stuff and not ghosting.
Well, I think it's why they're getting to the point where backers, actual fans, now they want to see lettered pages.
Yeah.
Because they also want to know that you can write dialogue. They've gotten too many books sold to them on pretty pictures. And they're starting to realize that
And then they get
comic
them in the
books are
story. It's
words and
dumb.
pictures.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That it's kind of a symbiotic relationship between the storytelling and the pictures and everything.
I've been talking about this idea for a couple of years now, and I'm gonna get it going. It's for my channel. It's how do you take a visual audio medium like YouTube and other than like audiobook, engage an audience into highlighting writers and their talent. And do you remember? I don't know how old everybody here is, but this almost is before my time. But I remember just when I was like 3 or 4, seeing it on PBS, a show called Cover to Cover.
Yeah.
That also means they didn't have an editor.
Prior to that, the Bookbird. It was the same show, but just 2 different names. Where there was a guy just narrating a short story, and then the host of the show sat there with a big pad and he drew in pastels and he drew a big huge picture, for like 20 minutes on the show. I'm thinking about doing something similar to that, where I get some writers to write up a little short story or anything that you might already have laying around. And then me and I'll get a couple of other artists and we'll pre-record and we'll do like transitions and make it like 15-minute little video where we can get like a voice actor to read the story, and highlight this story is written by Luke Stone, voice acted by Piper Steed, you know what I mean? Drawn by Mad Ruth, you know what I mean? And that's the clip. And it highlights 3 different aspects of the talent that's going around this community, specifically the writer, right?
Yeah.
So
There's a little game that when I was in middle school they used to play, and I still think about it sometimes because I just think it was freaking
Telepathic
fun.
Bunny, actually, sorry to interrupt, but he actually has a channel dedicated to writing. So, sorry, Piper.
But the game was just, all right, we're passing this piece of paper around, and everybody is going to build a story 1 paragraph at a time. So the first person gets to write the first paragraph.
It's a
of the
story version of telephone.
Yeah, well, no, then the
Everybody
second
added to it?
person gets to actually read the first part so the story is coherent. Instead of the version where it's drawing and you cover up part and then they draw more. But it's still it was it ended up being a lot of fun just because everybody could kind of show their writing chops of you're just thrown into this story at this one spot and you have a timer.
I'm going to say something that's going to be pretty upsetting.
Uh-oh.
But hear me out. I am tired of writers acting like they're better than artists. And I'm tired of artists acting like they're better than writers. If you're a writer and you're an artist, your goal is storytelling. Storytelling is the core principle of what we're doing. Learn how to tell a story. You can do it in different styles and you can do it in different ways. But at the end of the day, if you're writing, you're not just writing garbage on a page. You're not just writing words and eloquent phrases. You have to write something of substance. You have to tell a story. If you're drawing, you're not just drawing pretty pictures. You have to draw pictures that tell a story. That's what we're doing. It's storytelling. Now, I'm not trying to blow smoke up his rear or anything like this, but one of the best written, as far as storytelling comic books goes, that I've read in years is Randy Zimmerman's Paragon. I thought it was going one way, and in 32 pages, I got a big gasp at the end, and then it set up a whole other world for this universe that he's got. And I was like, dude, that is so well done. And I realized that I have a few things that I still need to learn. You know,
You can definitely tell when someone's taken the time to write a complete story and like they knew where this was going all along, and you can tell when someone's just making it up as they're going along. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
absolutely.
I think we were having a conversation today actually about that, where the number ones sell really well because of speculation.
Mm-hmm.
Number twos are a little more difficult to sell, but number threes are really hard to sell because what happens is people will want to make a comic book. And so they will write their first issue without their second issue even in mind.
Right.
Put all the eggs in one basket.
The people I edit for, I'm specifically making them know and write out overall what their next some odd issues are going to be and their complete end game.
Well, that makes you a good editor.
Before they start writing their first issue in detail. I've been telling them, no, you're going to make this really loose outline. So you know how you're going to get from here to here to here, and you can fill out details as you go, but you need at least that loose outline of the entire story first.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, there's definitely, we need to get back to storytelling. We really do. And a focus on storytelling. Because the art form deserves it, but the fans deserve it too.
So here's a tough question for everyone. Out of all the books you bought, how many of them you read and how many are just sitting in your box right now?
Well, that's not fair for me.
Yeah, you know what I mean? I mean, we're all there, right?
I do have a bunch that I do have a bunch, but that's also time. I mean, I'm not 15 anymore where I can just sit on my bed and like take 6 hours out of the day and read like 15 to 20 graphic novels, you know.
But here's the irony to the whole thing, you know.
Before bed every night, read some. But the problem is I'll get burnt out on reading like, you know, our graphic novels in a sense, you know. And so I'll cut it up with like manga and stuff. Like I need variety. But that makes it longer before I get to like the books I've like backed and gotten and stuff. So I will say this, I'm very guilty of if your book's about a werewolf, it gets read like right away.
So you read Professor Murph's?
Yep.
Which was good actually.
Yeah. War Party.
Yeah.
War Party was very good.
I edited for him. I edited the War Diary too. So.
That's why I enjoy guest appearing on Well Read's channel, because it forces me to read the books. Yes. You know what I mean? Like that forces me. It's not that I don't want to read it, but it forces me to make the time to read.
Yeah, it gives me an assignment. So now I'm doing this for this show and not doing this for my leisure kind of thing.
Yeah.
Well, I have I had 5 months worth of campaigns that showed up while I was and I'd ordered some more once I finally got my phone back and was well enough to be on Amazon. Oh, I'm telling you, like there was Amazon showing up to the nursing home. And I started ordering campaigns then. So I've got a pretty large stack of books behind me. But to be fair, when I open one, I read it. And I have read most of everything I've opened already, with the exception of one book, and I opened it because I didn't think it was a comic book, because it showed up in like just a regular envelope, like I'm like, certainly no one would have shipped a comic book like that, and they did, so they're not going to have a customer for their second book from me. Just not going to happen. But
Not even like with cardboard in it or anything.
no, sir.
Just a bag and a board at least.
Yes.
But nothing to support it. So like the mailman could have totally just folded it.
And he did.
Oh.
Yeah, of course. Not even a do not bend sticker on the it was at least one of those weatherproof mailers. It wasn't rigid, but it was, it wouldn't get wet.
Mm-hmm.
But guess what? They're not going to get any more of my cheddar.
I've read everything I've gotten, but I haven't bought that much because I'm pretty picky. I mean, I'm, like, my normal listening is something like The Conscious, or Neurophysiology or something, David Eagleman the Brain, something like that. So I do, I like comic books, or I liked them more when I was a kid, and I have tried to get into the indie books, but I do find that the storytelling is extremely disappointing. The level of it is extremely disappointing because there doesn't seem to be any forethought. It's more about almost just like a theme park. It's not about my enjoyment. It doesn't feel like the book was written for my enjoyment. Mm-hmm. It feels like the book was written to get money from me, or to fulfill a specific chemical response. Look at this pretty picture.
We're going to go just a little longer than we normally do tonight. About an hour and a half, probably. So here, listen to this. Concept versus story. I have this theory that a lot of people will write their comic book based on their concept, but they won't take the time to find the story in the concept. Example, my concept is that angel human hybrids called Nephilim existed, and that DNA still exists in my universe. One day something happens causing that DNA to wake up and give people powers, but within a couple of hours of them receiving these new abilities, someone is abducting them, right? So the concept was that the people would be descendants of the Greek gods, these Nephilim creatures, and have powers. That was the concept. But I had to find the story in the concept, and that's the second half of that, that people get powers, but they're being abducted within hours of receiving them. That's the story. I find that my theory is a lot of people have a concept, but they fail to find the story in the concept. What are your thoughts on that, panel?
I agree. I can't really elaborate more on that. That's basically true. I think a lot of people are excited at the fact that they realize that they can do this, so maybe they jump the gun. They get the concept and they don't take the time to knead it out, roll it out, and stick it in the oven and let it bake a little bit and find that story like you were saying.
Yeah. The story will reveal itself to you if you allow it.
I think a lot of it starts with what if. Like, if we take the Little Mermaid, right? Take that idea. So that was a shitpost that turned into a what if we really did this. If you had people that stopped there with the, oh shoot, we should do this.
Then it's just a meme.
Then it's just a meme in comic book form.
Yeah.
But the group that's working on it is actually sitting. I am writing a whole entire story outline.
The group, me, yeah,
right? Me. I am writing
her
an
multiple
entire
personalities.
story outline for this, so that yes, it'll have all that stuff, that made people go, we need this as a real book, but it's going to make sense. It's going to make sense, and it's still going to engage you in the actual plot. It's going to give you a good, why am I seeing all the guns and the titties and all that good stuff?
But
And
you said there's actually a plot. That's
yeah.
the thing. A lot of comic books don't have a plot.
That's what I'm saying. Like, there's still a planned out plot. We
Forget
are right.
lost the plot. They never had it to begin with.
Right. Well, that's why
Losing my
religion.
religion.
Too, but we Pixel's idea. I'm just writing the outline, possibly writing the script, but it's gonna give you, a lot of people I think stop at, man, this would be a cool, like, this would make a really cool book. People would go nuts over X, Y, and Z. Let's do this. And then the actual script is like an afterthought. The script is just written as, all right, so how do we get from this cool scene to this cool scene? And
Yeah.
That's why I call it a theme park.
yeah,
So
Really,
everyone
and,
here,
that's the truth.
I like the board, like,
Everyone-
we are writer.
so everyone here knows I'm a brand new creator. Like, I'm brand spanking new, right? However, I spent 2 years reading how to draw comics the Marvel way, making comics, on writing. I spent 2 years watching everyone's YouTube shows, figuring out how to do all this, right? So even though, yeah, I'm a brand spanking new creator, like, that's my script. You flip through that thing. That's me writing for
Yeah,
4
damn.
months. These are my thumbnails that went along with me writing those pages. And then here's me doing my layouts for my artists. Look how thick that thing is, at a page
Yeah.
a week, right? I mean, you can't tell me I didn't do my due diligence to tell a story in visual story and write
So,
a
Ruth,
story and base.
Thank
Yeah.
you for sharing that. That kind of leads
Yeah.
me in. Let's talk about you for a second. So this is your first book,
Yeah.
but we have talked before, you and I. You have been around picking people's brains, like you said, for 2 years.
I was gonna say, because Mad Ruth, I like recognize that name in the chats alone
Yeah,
forever.
he's
Like,
been around a while. Yeah, we've been bumping chat shoulders and Twitter shoulders for a long time.
Yeah, absolutely, and I've been supporting creators. Like, I love pulling. Like, I'm not flashing, but I love pulling out when I go on someone's channel. Like, yeah, I got your books.
Yeah.
I love doing that.
Edited by Piper.
Yeah.
So if you like it, it's because Piper edited it. If you don't
Just, I
like
love
it,
this
it's because I
community,
wrote
yeah.
it.
Yeah. I just want people to know I didn't just show up here at another. Hey,
Yeah.
come and skate rocks. Here's my campaign. Buy my
Yeah.
book. No. That's
There
not
are a
how
lot
to
of
do
people that do that, aren't there?
But all of that already helps. All of that already has where your name online is recognizable already. Like,
I've had that
just
over and
about
over.
anybody should be like, oh, I know that guy.
The only reason you're on my show is because of how long you've been around. I've heard that about 10 times now already,
Yeah.
which is cool. I get
Well,
it.
Dang.
All right, so Mad Ruth, I'm going to ask you questions. Feel free to tell me to go kick rocks or it's none of my
Oh,
damn business.
Feel free, please.
Okay? So, obviously you're American.
Nope. Canadian.
Canadian. Oh,
My
Wow,
mom,
you started with obviously you're American.
Obviously.
No, my whole family's in the United States. My grandparents, my grandfather was a U.S. Army, 46 to 49. He actually used to haul dynamite through the Cheyenne Mountains of Colorado.
Sweet.
My mom's from Iowa. All my aunts, uncles, cousins, nephews, nieces. My entire family's in Iowa. We had a very large farm out there in Iowa. My mom emigrated to, I don't want to get into it, but she emigrated to Canada in 69. Hippie, we're leaving. And then, yeah, lo and behold, I came along. So I'm only 20 minutes away from Maine, and I'm in where the 14th colony was, where, everyone after American Revolution.
Yeah,
That's where
I heard
lived,
your
so.
accent and I thought that you were from that area. That's why.
I used to spend 3 months, up until about age 14, I'd spend 3 months every year in Iowa, so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So bacon.
Yes.
What's up with Canada's version? It's hot ham. It's just hot ham.
Yeah, it's gross. I'm not a fan of it.
All right, so that's not a
Back
relevant
bacon.
question. Is it? What do you like me? What do you want to go by? Mad Ruth? Is that what you want us to call you?
It's all right. My name's Craig White. It's all over my
Craig.
books too.
Yeah.
Craig. Yeah, you can call
Well,
me.
yeah,
Craig.
I know
That's all
Craig
right.
White. Yeah, we
Yeah.
talked. I don't know. I don't want to call you that.
I am so bad at memorizing people's actual
it's all
name.
good.
If
Yeah,
I've only if I've interacted with them with their screen name for so long, it's like,
I don't
no,
wanna call
sorry,
you-
you're just gonna have to change it. It's mad now.
Yeah,
Like,
I don't want to call you
Good.
Craig publicly if that's not what you want to go by.
Doesn't bother me
I
at
try
all.
not to. I try not to use people's
Yeah.
real names if they don't want it.
Well, some people freak out, right? Yeah,
They really do.
My address, I'm easy to find. I'm not hard to look up. You know.
Yeah, my address
There-
is actually on my website, so
Yeah. Go ahead
don't
and try.
come get me, guys.
Well, I'm so
Or
far in the
maybe-
sticks in the woods, it'd be very unwise to come this far into the woods to come get me.
Yeah, I live in Florida. We're a stand your ground state, and I am a proud Second Amendment guy. So
Yeah.
you can come over. I'll make you some coffee. We'll hang out.
I got 2
Cause
acres
trouble.
of land. Yeah, I got plenty
You're
of
not gonna
places
like
to
it.
make people go away.
All right. So, Craig, how old are you?
I'm approaching 50.
Wow. Okay.
I'm closer to 50.
So, what
I
made you
served-
decide to take that journey now?
I served 26 years in the military. A lot of people don't know that. I did 2
Oh,
tours in Afghanistan and 1 tour in Bosnia.
Well, thank you for your
So,
service. I
yeah, I
appreciate
retired
that.
warrant officer. So that's where people wonder, where's this guy got his money from? I did 26 years in the Army and I flipped 3 houses. I've got money. You know?
Oh, we didn't know you had
already-
money. I didn't care if you had money or not.
No, but you know what I mean. Like, how do you throw money in an investment like this, or how do you come? I've had that. You know
Well,
what I mean?
I figured you just sold sperm at the sperm bank or something.
Well, I know that too.
I figured your pimp hand was heavy and you were into
No.
decriminalizing prostitution. You know,
But no, I'm just saying. I spent a lot of time in the military and I flipped a couple houses. So
Awesome.
I worked for everything I have. You know what I'm saying?
Awesome, man.
Yeah.
So you're taking that investment to do this. So you said you had thought that you'd planned to do it when you retired. What made you
Right.
decide to do, like, to make this journey now before retirement?
Froze. Is that your internet or mine?
Oh no, I'm still here. Are you?
Someone's freezing.
Am I freezing, guys?
everything looks good on my end, and mine's
Okay.
usually the one that hiccups.
Yeah, I guess we're good. We sound good. Okay, sorry.
Okay.
Sorry to interrupt you, Luke.
All right. So the question, you
If
said
Luke
that you were
breaks,
thinking
you
about
break
doing
dancing.
this.
Mhm.
What are you talking about, buddy?
I said if Luke goes into breakdancing, then we know something's wrong.
That's when you know something's wrong.
Yeah.
Before then, up to that, it's fine.
That's right. You know, it was a Luke 2 Electric Boogaloo.
Yeah, but if I start to twerk, then prepare.
You
for the
become
second
Willard?
coming. Prepare for the second coming,
If you start to twerk, we have issues.
or call for help because I'm about to take my own life. No, so you said that you had thought about doing the writing thing once you retired. What made you decide to do that now before retirement?
Yeah, so interesting enough. Yeah, so going all the way back to 2005. I don't know if you remember when what was it, Revenge of the Sith, and George Lucas said there'd be no more Star Wars movies.
Yeah.
So this is around Hurricane Katrina, around that time. So I was like, there's going to be a lull in science fiction. So I started writing this all the way back in 2005, and I got basically through the first chapter of it, and then just life happens, right? Again, 2 tours in Afghanistan and etc. A lot of postings and stuff. So it went in the back burner. But I always said, I had a whole bucket list of things I want to do in my life, and one of them was definitely serve, get a pension, have a family, a house, yada yada yada. But I wanted to write my science fiction stuff when I got out, right? But I just didn't know the mechanism to do it. Didn't really know when to start. It's just one of the things you just put off. But obviously, I went and saw The Last Jedi in theaters. I'm sure everybody knows that experience. I have to go into that in depth. You can tell I'm a very big Star Wars fan. I was upset. I was angry. I was ticked off. I felt insulted. And that's what made me blow the dust off. That's what got me on YouTube. And I said, all right, you know what? I can prove that I can do this better than Hollywood. And that's sort of what put the fire in me.
So what made you decide to use comics as the medium?
So interesting enough, I was going to try to write novels that were visually descriptive. And I mean, I've been a comic book fan for 30 years. I've got boxes and boxes. So you just naturally realize, well, if you're going to try to write a novel that has visual references, why don't you just use a visual medium, right? Especially as a new writer, I would say writing comics is easier than writing a novel, in my opinion. It is.
It is. I'm not gonna lie. It totally is.
Yeah.
I went
Making
the
them,
opposite
however-
direction. I wrote novels first and then went to comics.
But
So-
I went... Sorry,
Just
I went...
well, going by their theory, that means you just got lazy, buddy.
I know, right?
I'm teasing. I'm teasing.
Yeah.
So here's the thing.
I'm a dinosaur. What do you expect?
Writing comics is easier than writing novels, but producing comics is harder than writing novels.
And more expensive for sure.
And
yes.
way more expensive, yeah.
Yeah.
You can tell way more story
Right.
in a smaller package. Well, story of my life.
So just that little bit of writing I did back in 2005, that was one chapter and it was about 23 pages. When I turn that into my comic book, that's the first 6 pages in my comic book. So 23 pages in a novel versus 6 pages in a comic book, right?
Yeah.
Big difference.
My first 3.5 chapters are 90 pages in the comic.
Oh, wow. Okay, so you go in serious detail. Yeah.
Well, you've heard him talk, right? every time Buddy opens his mouth, I just stand there and I think to myself,
I'm not a smart man.
Right? Same though.
But even sitting there and writing an 88, like I sort of gave myself 88 pages to do this. So even when I went from beginning to end of 88, all of a sudden I had 5 pages left over. And then you can go back and say, hey, I want this fight to be a little bit longer. So you put another page in there and add some sequences. And once you figure out the real estate of how much territory you have, how many pages you want to do this, it sort of starts to lay itself out. I don't know how to explain that better. But
so you got a family. So you
yes.
Awesome. That's great.
Yeah.
You don't have to dox yourself if you don't want, but I always try. I have 2 kids.
Yeah.
One's getting ready to turn 20. One just turned 13.
I got a 5-year-old that just started kindergarten, so.
Oh my gosh, that's a great age.
Yeah.
And a hard time to be doing a comic. I'm sure. You gotta.
No,
I
I've got time now.
You gotta work at night, man.
Yeah. Well, it's just it. 3 hours a night. That's how I made this book. 3 hours a night every night for 2 years.
Well, here's what I want to do. I want to show your trailer. I'll play your trailer, and then hopefully it doesn't hiccup. And then I want you to tell me your plot. I want you to tell me your concept and your story.
Okay.
Gotta tell me what's going on.
That's
right?
fair.
Here, let's watch this.
Okay. Come out swinging.
2 things.
Nice.
2 things. The art, awesome. It looks great. 2, cool trailer with music. Really neat. Great way to start out. But now let's get down to brass tacks.
My campaign looks better, I think, but.
Well, we'll take a look at that here in a second. You're gonna find out where you're probably already out there shilling. On the NerdCast, we do things a lot different. We like to really talk to the creators, get to know them, and see. Here's the thing. Here's what's different. We've got smart people on the panel, and in the comments. So the chat, they actually know how Indiegogo works. So you don't really have to tell them how to look at the tiers. I'm like, I don't understand why people do that. So they want to know more about you and more about what's going on. This looks great, okay? So, well, before you get into concept and story, who is your artist?
So my artist name is Gonzalo Loyola. And so when I first started seeking this out, I started seeking out the most talented people I could find, right? So I actually went into Facebook, and I started tracking through the Facebook online artists looking for people to hire. And I had about 300 portfolios. I'm not kidding. I went through everyone. I'm not going to list everyone's portfolio I went through.
Yeah, it's pretty easy.
A lot. And he just was at the very top of the list. And I just sat down and had a conversation with him one day, and you know what I mean? We exchanged our viewpoints and our beliefs. I told him about Comicsgate because he wasn't aware of it. He got a kick out of it. He's like, "You're the first conservative I've ever worked with." And then he just started unloading all his baggage, and it's like, yeah, I'll
Nice.
listen to that.
You'd be surprised how many
Yeah.
people love the conservative thing, man. They're
So I'm like, we're
they're
gonna
just
get
ready.
along just fine, you know. It sounds like we're on the same page. So I had him do some preemptive drawings in this ash can that I made for my copyright.
Let me copy up there real quick.
So so that's the very first drawing Gonzalo did for me of my main character.
Now, is
So I
he
said,
also
"All
your
right."
colorist, or?
He is now. At first, the first
He is
60
now.
pages were by Alonso Espinoza. He did the first 60 pages.
Okay, I'm familiar with his
But
work.
now that the line work's done, obviously I don't have to pay Gonzalo those fees, right? So there's another one. So again, we just sat down and we just did concept art, right? Like for all my what the vehicles would look like, the weapons would look like, the characters would look like, and I said, okay, like we're gonna work well together. And then we just 2 years ago, we just started going to town, you know.
Oh, that sounds very
And
homoerotic.
and I can't explain the symmetry between artist and writer with me and Gonzalo, but definitely we found a friendship. He cares just as much about this campaign as I do. He wants to write the next book. He so much wants this journey to continue, but he loves the fact that I do layouts for him, and I throw him a layout page. He doesn't have to interpret the script and figure out how to do it. He takes it and he runs with it. He says, "You've got way too many panels in this. I can do it like this."
Yeah,
And
I love
go,
it when writers do that
Yeah.
for me too.
Yeah.
As an artist for people, if they'll
Yeah.
throw me their layouts, I'm like, oh, this is great. Yeah, like we're gonna move fast if we move through that.
And you gotta trust your team. I trust my,
You really do.
the judgment of my whole team, and everyone's contributing. You know.
It's great to find people that you like working with. You know, like lately we've joked that Piper and I are like the Siamese twins of creativity lately. We just are kindred spirits when it comes to making great content, and I've had a real joy teaming up with her working.
If you're not doing this for fun and the excitement of it and just getting this out and wanting to share it with people, then why are you here? You know?
Yeah, that has to be your first motivation.
Yeah.
Money's not a bad secondary motivation. Which, I mean, that for me, that's there. I know Piper is too. We're trying to make enough money so she can buy a new computer. And at least that's still a goal, or a
Keep
car,
working.
or a house.
I need it for the journey to continue. Like it's fun and dandy for me to fund my first book out of pocket, but I can't keep spending. Even my wife, she's like, "You can have one midlife crisis, but this thing better pay for itself." You know.
Your midlife crisis can't be number 2.
It's got to be self-sustaining.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
Well,
yes.
fortunately, right now, all the stuff I'm working on is self-sustaining, but it's taken a while to build that kind of arc. I'll be honest. So, just to throw back real quick on what we were saying earlier, one of the things I even heard you say was that really you can't really compare yourself to other people. You've just got to be better than you yesterday.
That's right.
And you've got to run your own race and try to get better for your fans, get better for the people around you, and then learn how to market so you can find more people around you. Grow that circle even more. So you've got a really cool team. So what is your concept basically here?
So again, interesting enough, being in the military, and I was a combat soldier at that, I needed somewhere to escape in my mind, right? I needed somewhere to decompress. So it just basically started with, I'm a big history buff. I do like reading history books, philosophy. We all read a lot of books. But anyway, so you got 6,000 years of human history and everything we know about. It just started with the concept of what would it be like to be a fly on the wall 6,000 years from now, right? Where will humanity be at? And for me, we've conquered the solar system. We figured out, like Jurassic Park, how to manipulate DNA and create our own creatures and how to terraform planets and build colonies. Artificial intelligence obviously emerged, and we got into a war with it as expected. And then going into the reality of if artificial intelligence existed, it would wipe us out. There's no doubt about it. We would be nothing to them, right? They would obliterate us. So then I had to come up with a reason for why they don't obliterate us. What is it that tells them to stop? And so forth and that. And then I had to come up with my own band of misfits. Like any movie, right? Whether it's Aliens, Star Wars, Predator, you have to come up with those characters that have to go on the journey. So then a lot of this book it starts with a bounty hunter meeting a neo-samurai, meeting his co-pilot, and everyone's got their stories and their backstories. Everyone's got these very hard lives that they're dealing with and these plot lines. So they all get together and they realize this conspiracy that's been hatched and this overarching conspiracy that's been unfolding on humanity, what's brought them all together, and they finally band together to do what's right, essentially, without going into too many details.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Well, let's go ahead and go, like, what is... you kind of did a little bit of what the story was.
Yeah.
But go into some detail for me for a minute. Some spoilers, not all of them.
Yeah. Okay.
Just a little
It's
taste.
much easier off my campaign page, but...
Okay, well, we can
Give
go
us
there.
the back jacket blurb.
Back jacket blurb, yeah.
So, yeah, oh boy, I can read that to you. Sorry, you just caught me off guard. So, it's like 9th millennium in the 83rd century of humanity. The golden age of our Type 2 civilization has passed. Countries and governments have long since been replaced by interplanetary corporations. 200 years of bloodshed from, and again, I had to rewrite this is old, from the wars have destroyed hundreds of settler cities and depleted our resources. You get the idea, it's a futuristic, sci-fi, band of misfits, But yeah, if you toggle down here, there's a nice little blurb in here. Yeah, right there. 200 years. War between man and machine has resulted in the solar system depleted resources. Hades, Vex, and the AI Hive.
Oh, no. You gotta read that better than that. 200 years of war between man and machine has resulted in the solar system depleted of critical resources. Hades, Vex, and the AI Hive are exiled on Mars, and their AI siege weapons have been outlawed throughout the corporate order. There's how you do it.
It's very nice. Yeah.
Yes, there you go. No, that sounds pretty good. Okay. So you have lettered pages up. Very good.
Yes.
Guys, I'm going to throw the link. Oh, that's the StreamYard link. I don't want to do that. We don't just want anybody popping in here. Who knows what would happen? We've learned in the past what it's like. You don't just go around throwing the StreamYard link. You
Yeah,
don't know
don't know who's going to show up.
All right, I just popped the link to this campaign in the thing. It's in the video description too. So it's in the video description.
So it starts off with our main hero there, Dexter Barrow, and he's just a bounty hunter. He just does what he's got to do, and he gets hired to take out Misha Atsu. So he agrees to do it and does what he has to do to get the right training and the right equipment. Away he goes, and then he runs into her, and then they realize people have been conspiring things behind both of their backs. And yeah, you get the idea.
Man, this art looks fantastic, man. Those ships.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah.
That is great.
Yeah. That's what, a week a page of detailed line art looks like, week per page for 2 years,
Wow.
Yeah.
So Soul Track, Betrayal Volume 1, The Perfect Bound, graphic novels, 92 interior pages.
Yeah, 88 of continuous story.
Wow.
Yeah.
Why are the resources run out?
Critical resources in the solar system? Well, we had 200 years of war between us and...
Why do the machines
AI.
need resources?
Well, to continue to build an army, and to try to... So there's been multiple attempts at interstellar vehicles, and same thing, those use up a lot of resources.
Why does the AI want to attack humanity to take out resources? Why do they need to bother with us to get resources?
Well, they just want to wipe us out, but they were told not to. They were told to stop.
Why do they want to wipe us out?
Because they hate us. Because we're... why does anything wipe itself? That's a very good question. So why did Neanderthals disappear and then Homo sapiens take over? Why naturally, when one group
But that's
that
a
has
different
better
question.
technology,
I mean, I can answer that question. But what you're
comes to
talking about
North
in
America,
history is that, we did have a sharing of resources, and so the sharing of resources against a better evolved creature, then the better evolved creature did eventually wipe out the creature. But usually not in war. They just took more resources.
Right. Yeah,
and the other race eventually just died off.
Yeah.
But in this case, you're talking about something that doesn't really need the same resources that we do, that just assumes it's going to kill us.
Mm-hmm.
It seems, I don't know, a little bit assumptive. Like, is there kind of, like, is that part of the plot? Is there something in that we don't know about, like a MacGuffin or something that they're going after that we have control over, or
Well, it's
maybe it's
definitely part
us
of the
in general.
plot.
I mean,
Yes, that's the
I
main
mean,
plot of my story. Yeah.
So he can't really drop that little bit in there, can he? That'd
well,
be
I mean,
like,
without that, like it's yeah. I mean, that's the thing is without that, I'm like,
so
I mean,
there's
I
a
don't.
thing there, buddy. That
You gotta,
you know-
yeah. There's this whole thing where you kind of have to like. There's a thing called spoilers.
Yeah.
Well, I get that, but like
that's one of the spoilers he
that's why
can't give
I'm
us.
usually not big into science fiction because, I don't know. Usually science fiction writing to me is weak, and
If
so
you keep
I like science
scrolling down-
nonfiction, like Nick Bostrom and stuff like that. But
So all you need to know is you scroll to the next page. The Sons of Strife. They look incredibly evil, and you want to know that's them, right? That's the
Okay.
AI hive of Hades Vex. Yes.
So the AI, looks like there's a human brain in there.
Yeah, that's their father. Yeah. He's
Okay,
the
so the
original
AI
creator.
have-
He created the original.
So they have human.
singularity
So they have human ancestry.
in creating them. The original creator. Yes.
Okay.
well, technology is humanity, but the whole point usually is technology grows at 2 times the rate that humanity does, or actually two orders of magnitude faster than humanity does, even though technology is a subset of humanity. However, if we had AI, it would be separate. It would literally be a separate conscious that was like, God, attached to a conscious without any kind of collective, without any like a.
A lot of these questions get answered, especially in my ash can. I tie into that in some of the biographies. So, yeah, it's been thought of. It's
Buddy's
in there.
big brain.
Yeah. That's the stuff you want to know. That's the stuff that's in there. Yes. So, also too, so if you keep going, there's more pictures in there. And then in my updates, every time I update, I also throw images and stuff in there as well.
Okay.
So,
Ooh, that's a nice page.
yeah, that's the vehicles. That's Mishatsu's research vessel, and then Giles' little taxi there. Yeah, here's your cover. My two
There's a
little
lot
flying-
going on this cover.
Yes, there is. That's all from the 88 pages, basically. Clips from it. And once you've read the whole story, that cover would make a lot more sense.
I'm a carnivore, baby. What do you expect?
Yeah. The Velociraptor. Okay, so original art?
Yeah, there's 8 original art tiers. So, again, I started when COVID first hit. And a family friend of ours was looking for some money, so he offered to draw up my first original characters. So I've got those 11 by 17 original art boards right here. And that's what those
Nice.
tiers are. And you get
Okay.
the original 11 by 17 for each character, a print, both books, the ash can, the 5 prototype cards, and then any of the stretch goals.
Who's your letterer?
Kurt Hathaway from Image Comics. He's lettered
He's
Black
decent.
Flag. Yeah.
Yeah, he's pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say the lettering looks good.
Yeah. Like I
Black
said, I
Flag.
heard
Is
the
that
best.
the Fraggus book?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I heard the best people that were willing to work with me. Like I sought out my talent. I didn't.
Isn't
just-
that always the trick? The ones
Yeah.
that are the best that are willing to work with you.
That's right.
Yeah,
So,
I've had a few people not take up on that.
I've tried to hire people and then they just couldn't produce anything, and away you go.
So
right?
you get both books for $45 as your featured tier.
Yes.
Okay, you have hit your goal.
No.
You still have 42 days left. You're doing a 60-day campaign, obviously.
Yes.
Can I tell you something?
It's a bad idea. I know from a marketing
No,
perspective.
it's not a bad idea. Running a full 60-day campaign is great, but it's a bad idea not to take advantage of the built-in algorithm on Indiegogo.
On the 30 and 30.
The
yeah.
30 and 30, because if
Yeah.
you're allowed to extend it 30 days. So what happens?
Not only
is-
that, but everybody does it, where you just go, "Oh, this is my final day, guys! Come and help me!" And then 30
Well,
go, "Oh, I'm going to
people-
extend
we
it."
didn't do that.
Yeah,
We
people
didn't
will
do
see the number on there and be like, oh.
Yeah,
I
but
know.
they'll ask, is this the first or second 30? But what you take advantage of is Indiegogo has a coming and going email that they send out, and they also have a special section for that. That when
See what
you
you're
put in
saying.
those things, but when it's getting ready to close, it'll get boosted to the top, so more eyes get on it. So you can actually take advantage of that last 48-hour bump that the system gives it twice. So
I will agree. I looked at the algorithms, so I have been tracking those, and you are right. A big wedge of that pie is Indiegogo buys. So yeah, I totally get what you're saying.
Yep.
Hey, it's my first
trust me,
time.
I
I'm gonna
hated
make
the
mistakes.
3032.
Yeah.
I really did. I hated it. But
Problem is,
it makes total sense.
I've been a customer for so long, so even though I know that people do it the way that they do it, it's just like, I'm not doing that, you know what I mean? And now I'm regretting it.
Well, the thing with that was, like, in the beginning, it was exciting. Like, will they or won't they? Now we all know that 9 out of 10 of them will, you know? So now it just becomes a matter of, like Luke said, riding the algorithm.
Look, here's the thing.
But there's always new
Depending
customers, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, depending on what hybrids the next book does, I may not extend it. Like, if it does a pretty decent in the first 30, then I'm just gonna leave it, because I'd rather just, because it's all done. Everything's done. Before that thing launches, the book, to be quite honest, the first batch of test prints will actually be in my hands. So, I mean, it's gonna be completely finished. So yeah.
And you have enough customers and enough sales, it becomes, like you said, self-sufficient. That's the dream, right?
Yep. If it doesn't break 50%, I'm not extending.
So even with this, like, you know, I mean, people saw that 500, and a lot of people were mad at me over that, eh? Like, the arrogance of you to only ask for that, you know what I mean? It was just, again, because...
it's not arrogance. If that's all you needed.
Well, yeah, the book's finished. I'm making it one way or the other, right? Like, and then I can sell it locally. I can always do a second chance campaign. I get it. If this doesn't work, you don't turn around and just do a second chance. Obviously, I have to do some audience building. I have to do some YouTube. But the book now exists, right?
Well, also in that does make a lot of sense, because now you're 400% to funding, and that goes in the algorithms as well. So when the higher percentage you are above your funding goal, the better standing you have in the algorithms as well. So you did well on that, even though you messed up on the 30-30 thing. But that's okay. You're a first timer. You learn.
Yeah, exactly.
No, you did good.
Everyone's got to start somewhere. That's the part that annoys me, is everyone has to start somewhere, you know?
Yeah, no, this looks great.
Thank you.
This looks great. That's very interesting. Anybody else got any questions for Craig?
Y'all asked him everything I could think of, like, that I was gonna.
Anthony, anything from you?
Yeah, no. You got, my main question was who the team was, but you guys covered that. So yeah.
I've even got like trading cards of all those guys kicking around somewhere. And like here, they all look pretty cool.
I think he means the art team.
Oh, the art team. Sorry, my bad. Yeah. So
am I wrong there, Dark, or did you mean the team in the book?
Oh yeah, no, I meant the art team. Yeah. But
Okay,
you guys covered that, so yeah.
So, but Gonzalo, a bit more about Gonzalo. So he's Chilean. I've tried to get him to come with me on streams. He may eventually. He's worried about language issues. But he loves Comicsgate. Me and him have watched like Professionals and other stuff together and commented on it. So he's fully aware of Comicsgate. Alonso Espinoza, he's done a couple books here and there. I mean, I don't know which ones to aim, but within Comicsgate. My flatter's Shane, I don't want to butcher her last name, from the Philippines. And Kurt Hathaway's my letterer. So yeah, you know.
So we do have a question from the chat.
Yeah.
Where did your nickname come from?
So, gamer tags, actually. So I used to play a lot of Star Wars Galaxies, and then on Xbox back in the day, my name was Mad Cheddar. And then coming a little bit further in the future on Star Wars: The Old Republic, my gamer name was Ruthakar. So my whatchamacallit, my YouTube was Mad Cheddar Ruthakar. So the first time I subscribed to Ethan's channel and then to Dan's, they both had to butcher this horrible Ma'ada Cheddar Ruthakar has joined my channel, and I realized I better change that very quick or people aren't gonna like me. So I just squeezed it down to Mad Ruth, and that's literally all it is.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Blue also says he's just Chilean out in the backyard by the pool. But shh.
But he looks at the campaign every day. He opens it up. He had so much input on this. It was fun. There's a lot of promotional art that he created. So even though you don't see him, I'm kind of the face of our team. He just as much as I do wants this to keep going.
Man,
he
that's
wants to
awesome.
write the next book. Yeah.
That's awesome, man. I'm looking forward to this.
He's a brilliant artist. Like it'd be really sad to see him just go back into the fold, you know. But
yeah.
No, it looks really good, man.
Yeah.
So yeah, $2,000 so far. 42 days left to go. You know, let's take a look at this, guys. Maybe go over there, check it out some more, read the pages that are up on the campaign, so you can actually see if this guy can write or not.
Mm-hmm.
1, 2, 3, only 3 pages, not 5, but there's 3.
Yeah.
That'll give you a sense of whether you can write or not.
Updates too. There's a couple cool things in my updates. I know this shouldn't be tucked away by there, but so every time I update my campaign, I throw another giveaway in there, like something just to keep people excited. So that's gonna go in the line art book, but you gotta open each of those. Unfortunately, yeah. So there's a piece of promotional art in there. That's a panel from out of the book, and then in there, that's the cover for the blood and ink version, but it's a lot more bloody than that. The actual finished version, but that's the cover for the line art. And then there you go. That's the entire book in its entirety, just to give people an idea, because there was a lot of back and forth about page count. So there you can see the entire book from front cover to back cover. Yeah, give people an idea of my progress. So yeah, I thought there was another one in there, but I thought I put a new colored page in, but maybe I didn't. So
no, I don't see one.
But every time I have an update, I throw something in there. So
that looks really good. Yeah. Craig, it's been really nice meeting you.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Know you.
It's nice talking to you all.
Nice to see you in person. Yeah. I mean, it's been a few years.
yeah. And I'll be around. I mean, so people worry that you're going to make a book and you're going to disappear. No, I'm serious. I know I got to build my YouTube. I know I got to build my audience. I got to start doing things. I got to start.
You've been around. You've been around here.
I don't see why people do that to themselves, because that means that they're only gonna get that one book out. They're gonna have to start all over if they want a book too. Like.
Yeah, well, you just got to start somewhere, and you just got to keep working at it, and you know, I mean, building your channel and building your audience. And when you think you've got enough people, you can try again. And you know, I'm just gonna keep going. I'm also to my book, like I said, I've got tons of avenues to sell it other ways as well, just to get enough capital to make the next one. So we'll see.
Well, you know, we've been at this for an hour and 36. It's normally we keep them short because it's a nightcap, NerdCap.
Thank you so much, Blue Samurai, too. He just mentioned he backed me on day one. Thank you so much.
So let's go around. Let's let everybody know where they can find us and any last remarks for the evening. We'll go ahead and start with you, Craig.
Oh, okay. So on Facebook, I'm Craig White. I think most of you are actually friends with me. You just haven't made the connection that Craig White on Facebook is Mad Ruth. But you can add me there. Again, I just pretty much add everyone unless they're like Nigerian or you know what I mean. You get what I'm getting at. But anyways, you can find me there. Twitter,
Nigerians, that's what he's
saying. Twitter, I have 2 accounts. I have my blah blah blah. I like to not troll, but I like to stand up for myself channel. But I also have Mad Ruth Comics, which is just strictly my comic book, which is actually a lot bigger, ironically, because I'm not yapping at people. And then Instagram, I think I'm Craig White as well. And I think that's all. Oh, on YouTube, I'm Mad Ruth as well. So if you want to go to my Mad Ruth channel, ironically, I think I got 58 videos. Every month I force myself to make a video. There's malt liquor videos there. There's me being silly, but there's also me showing the progress of my book if anyone really wants to see all that. So,
all right.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Anthony.
Dark If Comics presents on YouTube and darkifcomics.com for everything else. We got Lightbringer 2 launching Sunday night, so jump on the mailing list because you want to make sure that if you're going to back that you get that secret perk that we're going to be sending out to all the email subscribers.
Yep.
Nice.
Buddy.
I am Buddy Lord. And you can find me at Buddy Lord on Twitter with 2 Ds at the end. I wrote Sins of the Fae, Sway, Sins of the Fae is finally finished. Almost.
Oh, nice.
No, it's
almost.
Yeah, the revisions are done. I'm waiting on him to finish them, and then we got to letter it. So it should be done by hopefully the end of November. Like nice. Print file end of November. Or not, print file end of this month is what we're hoping for, and then by the end of November, we're hoping to have like some of the proofs back.
So, Piper, what's going
on? If you want to find most of my stuff, you can go to adventuresofpiper.net, because I need to start actually using the freaking site that I have. um, so now there's buttons to all my stuff, and there's soon to be a page for the VTubing stuff. In other words, I'm giving Fizz her own page. As soon as I freaking get freaking break to work on like personal stuff.
So, yep. All right, well, you can find me at lukestonestudios.com. Don't forget to go over there. Sign up for the mailing list. Go over and back. Rift Writers, we are so close to hitting 10,000. Please, please, please.
Yeah.
Make my day and help us out with that.
It's teasing me.
Yeah, I'm really tired of flirting with it, and I'd rather...
It started to tease me.
Yeah. We'd love to get there. It would be my first book to break that many figures, so that'd be amazing.
I always gonna say like Rift Rider Motorcycle Hero.
Buddy's offering to do the next trailer, I guess. That's what it is. He's writing a theme song.
No, I just think it's I don't know. My brain just comes up with a jingle every time I hear it.
Just start singing. So yeah, check that out. And also we're doing sign-ups for Hybrids, The Killing Field Part 4. It's actually 1 through 4. I do not know when I'm going to launch that yet. So I'm looking at where we're at with Rift Riders and trying to pick a date. So working on all that stuff. So check that out. And I think I found a really good song for us to party out to. Yep, LA coming into the party late. So you guys, remember, try to build up more than you tear down. Leave the wood pile a bit higher than you found it. And, you know, sometimes we just need a savior.
In this world that we're living in, there's so many people wondering how we ever hope to clean up all this mess that we've made. There are people dying in the street, little babies with no food to eat. Sometimes it seems we should accept defeat, but this won't make us fall. There is still one man we can call. Danny DeVito, the one that we need, oh. You're the one who can turn this all around and lift us from the ground. I know you are my hero. You're the one who has come to save the day. We need you more than words can say. Yeah, this one chubby little man has the power in his hand to heal the divide and bring peace to this land. Doesn't matter if you're left or right, we know that Danny is our guy to help us put our differences aside. We can trust in this man, put our lives in his hand. I know Danny DeVito, the one that we need, oh. You're the only one who can crack this egg. I'm down here on my knees, I beg, from zero to hero. It's time for a new orange fat old man, but this is one we all can stand. Someday you'll leave this world behind, and on that day the world will cry. And this is why Danny DeVito, wearing a Speedo, this image will unite us all. With Danny we will never fall. Who needs De Niro? This is a face we all can trust. Oh Danny, won't you come save us?